How much do you think that spine tick cost the ASM 198? I mean, I don't think it costed anything. So I mean, I had estimated 1.5 million. It went for 1.38, but I think, like I said in my video where I talked about that one, it wasn't really like it was a disappointing sale. I mean, it has never sold in a 9.8 before. The sale that we're referencing, and yeah, we can let's go check that one out. Let me just find the number here. So it's 91026. Just for anybody in the chat that doesn't know what we're referencing here, we have this Amazing Spider-Man #1 curator pedigree. This was one of the big premier books that sold in this auction. I think this was the third highest sale item. The Superman one went for like 2.34 million. The All-Star 8 went for 1.5 million, and this is 1.38. I don't think there was anything else above that. But this was a 9.6. Someone cracked it out, got the 9.8. And the thing that, that he's referring to in the chat is this spine tick right here. And this is one of those things where it's like, when you zoom in, it looks, and this is what I'm trying to say, like there's a lot of talk out there where some people are like, oh, I don't think it can't be a 9.8. It has a spine tick. That is not true. You can absolutely have spine ticks in a 9.8. It is not a 9.9. It is not a 10.0. You can absolutely have spine ticks in a 9.8. Typically, 1 is about what you're going to get away with. Sometimes you'll get away with 2 that are color breaking. You can have more if they're non-color breaking, like those little light indentation things. You can have a little bit more, but color breaking, you can generally get away with 1, sometimes 2. And it also does vary on the age of the book. Like if this was a modern, yeah. If you're only familiar with modern books, like modern grading, you're probably not getting a 9.8 with that. But they do not grade books, like despite what anybody might say, like gold, silver, bronze, modern. Like you get slightly different grading, like little things you can get away with more in the older books than you can in the newer stuff. It is the way it is. And this is a stunning book otherwise. And so it's like, yeah, like some people like don't like that there's like a little like roughness in the corners. That's totally allowed. Like that's bindery defects. Like roughness in the corners is totally allowed. This book, like you're just going along. It's like maybe you have like one that could be a light spine tick right there. But like, I mean, even like, look at these staples. There's nothing, like just perfect at the staples. Yeah. You have this spine tick here, but otherwise, like this is a super clean book. Like, I don't think there's anything. We kind of joke, like about it's like, oh, it's like, is this actually a 9.8? But I mean, I do think that this is a 9.8 book. Now, when you're getting up into books like this, or when you're getting into grades like this, and I mean, and even when you're going down in maybe like 8.85s, that kind of stuff, down into that range, you're almost always going to have like, it's a weak 8.0, it's a strong 8.5, or it's a weak 9.6, it's a strong 9.8. And that's generally how you can have people that will, they'll get a book. And I'm not saying CGC doesn't ever get it wrong. There are definitely times they get it wrong and somebody makes a mistake and that kind of thing. That happens. I'm not just trying to defend CGC there, but if you're talking about like half grade differences, and you can easily have books that are this like in that between range where, like strong 9.6, weak 9.8, like you might call this one a strong 9.6, weak 9.8. You submit it a couple times. One time you get a 9.6, another time you get a 9.8. And that is something you need to consider as well. Like when, like Mickey was talking about this on his video as well. We were joking about it in our chat. It's like buy the grade, not the book. That's the saying, right? Even like everybody says buy the book, not the grade, but almost nobody does. Nobody follows that. I mean, it's just, it is the way it is. Like people buy the grade. And, I'm sure there are some exceptions, like some people that will, they buy the book, not the grade. But when they're in the slab, people buy the grade. And so it just is what it is. And yeah, I mean, this book, maybe on another day, it gets a 9.6, and I wouldn't be shocked by that. But I don't think it's not a 9.8. It's probably a 9.7, but there is no 9.7. And so it gets, it's like someday you get a 9.8, someday you get a 9.6. That's just how I kind of feel about that. I think sometimes there's a little too much like hand wringing on some of this kind of stuff. And you just have to, you have to go into it understanding that this is probably a 9.7, but there's no 9.7. And so I don't disagree with a 9.8, and I wouldn't disagree with a 9.6. And that's why there are definitely people out there that like they'll have a 9.6 that they think looks good, and they might submit it 4 or 5 times to try to get that 9.8. That absolutely happens. And so I know that's why people do get really upset about, how much someone will pay for a 9.8 versus a 9.6. But I mean, my take on that is it's like, it's not your money. Why do you care? Right? Like, let people collect what they want to collect. If someone wants to collect it and go for 9.8s and they're willing to pay that, even though maybe it's a 9.7 or a 9.65 or something, like, who cares? Right? Like, it's not your money. Like, who cares what someone else pays for that book? But yeah, that's my little soapbox. I just got on here to rant a little bit about the grading on the, like that. I don't think there's big controversies, or, like, I think a lot of people think that there's always some like hidden agenda, or this kind of thing. And it's just, I don't see it that way. I just think that, you could probably submit this book 10 times and maybe 6 times it gets a 9.6 and 4 times it gets a 9.8, something like that.